up, everyone? It's your girl Shay here. Welcome to my channel if you are new, and welcome back to my channel if you have been here before. As you can see by the title of today's video, I'm discussing the new Marvel movie, Madam Web. So this was not a Marvel movie that was made through Marvel/Disney. It was made with Marvel, in association with Marvel, but it is Sony. So I didn't have very high hopes for it. I'm also going to be honest, Madam Web is not a character within the Marvel sphere or universe that I really knew a lot about. So I was kind of going into this a little bit blind and didn't know a whole lot about the character itself, origins, etc., etc. I will say it was an okay movie, and it was a movie that I had seen a lot of reviews about, and a lot of people didn't really enjoy it. But just like many other people, I know that when it comes to movies, it can be better to go see it on your own for you to get your own review of how you feel about it, rather than taking somebody else's review off of the internet, which you may or may not agree with. So like with my reviews, or all my reviews, you can go check out the piece of media for yourself and make your own reviews about it or how you feel about it. But I decided to share how I feel about this movie overall. So yeah, you don't have to agree with my review. This is just purely my opinion overall. But anyway, as far as what the movie is about, it's basically the origin story of Madam Web, and pretty much her like protecting these three girls that are supposed to be the end for the villain in the film overall. I will say, for the acting, I didn't actually like the acting. So the actresses that played the three girls, to me, their acting was great. Their acting was fine. But for the acting for Madam Web, who was played by Dakota Johnson, as well as for the acting for the main villain, I just thought it was a little bit dry. There were certain moments in the film where the villain would talk, villainy, I guess you could say, but he decided to jump on our blinds. This is my cat. This is Sugar. Okay, I'm gonna put you. Bye-bye. Okay, so anyway, he is staring at these blinds. He's going to try and jump again. Okay, never mind. He's walking away. But anyway, just like when he was talking his villainy way, it just was said very cringy. Like the line was said very like strangely, like it just was very dry, and it just wasn't very believable, to be completely honest. And that was one of the things that I like just kind of took me out of the film, was kind of some of the acting and the lines involved. Also, some of the like the way my husband put it, that some of the relationships seemed kind of forced, and I can agree with that. I felt like the relationship between, Madam Web's character and the girls was like they had to find some sort of a connection or some sort of a reason for her to ultimately decide to protect these girls, because in the film, in the beginning of it, it's pretty well established that she doesn't like kids, that she just has an issue with children. She just doesn't like them. She doesn't gel well with kids in general. So they had to find a way to connect them to each other to make her want to protect them. So a lot of it just didn't make sense. There were certain points where, like, towards the end, which I'm not going to do any spoilers, so if you decide to go see the movie, you're not spoiled about anything. But there are certain lines that she would say that the villain would take, but it was like, it didn't make any sense overall with what was happening. So it was just kind of like weird. Like, I don't know. It was just strange, and I didn't like it very much. Like, there was no like cohesion between lines that were said and what you saw visually at the beginning. And if it was meant to be some sort of a like gotcha kind of a moment, or a moment where you're like, oh, I like didn't see that coming, it didn't work very well. Like, it didn't work at all. So that was one thing for me that I just like didn't like it just wasn't great. Another thing that I would say, like one thing that a lot of people did mention in this film was that there are a lot of Easter eggs to, of course, the original Spider-Man, Peter Parker. You know, they had where his Uncle Ben was in it, noticeably very younger. Madam Web was his co-worker. And this was kind of like where the connections, the Easter eggs kind of go. I honestly didn't know a lot about Peter's actual parents. Of course, we only know about Uncle Ben and Aunt May. It's the only ones that we know about. They also don't say the line, and I think this was already said before, they don't say the line, with great power comes great responsibility. That line is not said in the movie. Granted, it makes sense that it's not said because, sorry, I got a little bit blurry. It makes sense it's not said because it was a line that was mostly said by Uncle Ben, but it was just, I don't know, it was just really strange. It just wasn't a great movie. Like, I walked away from it kind of like, if they didn't make a second one of these, I wouldn't be upset about it, because it doesn't need a second one, to be completely honest. At least to me, it doesn't need a second one. And I don't know, and it's like the timeline, weirdly enough, doesn't match. They give you years and dates of like when certain things are happening, which is only 2 dates. The dates of when Madam Web is born, and then her like present day date. But it just doesn't correlate. It doesn't make sense. I mean, you do see the girls kind of dressed in their superhero gear only like twice, but you don't have any like understanding of like why these girls are being trained, what they're being trained for, how they get their powers. It's just so weird because like I just don't have an understanding of it, and it's just, I don't know, it wasn't like a fleshed out story, if that makes sense. Nope. Sorry. He's trying to get to the blinds again. Okay. It just wasn't a fleshed out story, and I just wish it was fleshed out a little bit more. This has already been said also, there is no end credit scene nor no mid credit scene either. The director said that she did not put one in there. Actually, I can't remember if it was a she or he that was director, but the director chose not to put one in there because the director didn't want to be like pigeonholed into a specific story if there is a second one. Kind of like when you see like mid-credit scenes, you're kind of like, that's going to be a scene that's probably going to be in the second one, or a character that's introduced. There's just none of that there whatsoever, so you don't have to like, you can leave after the movie's over pretty much. As far as like, so I went to see this with my husband, and I knew that my husband didn't like it when he was talking to me during the movie, because usually he gets as sucked into the movies as I do, but since he was not paying attention to it, I could tell that he just didn't like it. And yeah, there's that. As far as a grading scale that I gave for this, as far as like an A through an F rating, I gave it like a C- to like a D+, because it wasn't horrible, but it was definitely a movie that I'm like, I don't need to see this again, nor do I want to get more into the Madam Web story. But I also am not surprised, because I feel like Marvel movies that are done with Disney, to me, are a lot better than the Sony Marvel films that they choose to come out with, specifically within the Spider-Man like universe. Which, let me bring this up really quick, which is going back to the whole like the timeline, to me doesn't work, because we don't know what world Madam Web takes place in within Marvel or within Spider-Man, because like we know that Venom and Peter Parker Spider-Man are in the same world or universe. Like we know that specifically, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But with Madam Web, we don't know that. So yeah, that's one thing that we don't know. But yeah, that's the rating that I give for this this movie. If you want to go see it, feel free to check it out. But if you want to, if you're kind of like, I don't want to spend money on this, just wait till it comes out on one of the streaming services and then just check it out there, or check out someone's review on YouTube, or if they choose to do like a watch along, I guess. But yeah, overall it was okay, not my favorite. Probably won't watch it again, probably won't be interested in anything more about the Madam Web character overall. It's honestly a Spider-Man movie that I could have done without. I would have rather either of them do another, like, even though Morbius was bad, I either would have rather them do another Morbius movie, or have done like another Venom movie, which I believe is going to be happening, and another Spider-Man, which I believe is also happening too. But yeah, I don't think this was a Spider-Man movie that they needed to make, because it didn't add any substance. yeah, that's just how I felt about it. But yeah, that's how I feel about this movie. Hope you like this review. I'll see you guys soon with another video. Links down below to all my social media accounts, my Instagram, my Twitter, and of course I also do have a TikTok, so feel free to check me out on there as well. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and of course please subscribe if you haven't already. And like I always tell you guys, stay positive, stay nerdy, and today's day and age, stay healthy, and of course please stay safe. So I'll see you guys in my next video. All right, you guys.